Want the system to be suspicious. If it's not human, we have no selfishness. So if I lie to it, it's not like I'm trying to get something from it, right? And these machines have these sort of like intentions, and their intention is to protect you. AI is based on philosophy. Who started the twist of logic? Every professor has to have a philosophical background. It's hacking another machine, right? I recently has been redefining the world of ethics. Human ethics is a very well-established area of philosophy in which people have throughout many years learned how to behave with one another, right? Either in the form of religion, in the form of politics, in the form of sociology. They know that if I do something bad to you, you do something bad to me, or, there is like, or you do things a certain way, you synergistically talk with the other. That is the ethics of the general ethics of society. Lying is bad, don't deceive people, don't manipulate people, this kind of thing, which is okay. I mean, I understand that. But in AI, we have a new ethics because AI is an intelligent object that is not human. If it's not human, we have no selfishness. So therefore, the ethics don't apply to the objects. In other words, I cannot say that it's bad to lie to a machine. I can say that to a human. Don't lie to Jeffrey because it's not good. But don't lie to the cup? Why is that bad? Now, that's different because the cup doesn't have the intention, doesn't have any selfish characteristics. So if I lie to it, it's not like I'm trying to get something from it, right? Because that's in the case of a human, right? But if I'm lying to a cup or to my iPhone, or if I'm or if I break it, right? If I destroy it right now, I'm not going to go to jail. But this is a piece, right? So the ethics of AI is very different from the ethics of the human. So a machine could actually lie. I can lie to the machine, and the machine lie to me. Okay, and that's actually a good thing. In fact, it should be a lesson for us to learn, because the intelligence that is being produced now through AI is sometimes deceiving. Sometimes it makes mistakes, and these mistakes could be unethical in a way. They could be like, okay, the system is trying to manipulate me. It's trying to make me, or it's hiding information from me, right? It's not telling me the truth, right? It's not intentional. I mean, the machine doesn't have any intention because it's not trying to get something from me. It doesn't need anything, right? But somehow the software is made in such a way to simulate somebody or to produce a lie, which comes to me in the form of a lie, right? So now I'm like, what do I do? Should I fight back? Who am I fighting? That's not the case. So what you have to do is you have to say, okay, if it's lying to me, it's my fault. I should learn how to protect myself from the lie. So in other words, the lie becomes a method of learning. When I see a lie that the machine does, or some bad thing the machine does, that allows me to start thinking about what does a lie mean? How does it make it? And how can I protect myself from the lie? Okay?
It's a reflection.
Yeah. So now, right. So now I'm learning from the lie. Okay? So that could be applied to many areas, including education, right? We educate kids to be good. Yeah, but how do they know what good is? You're good because you have to do these things, right? That's what, because in the ethical society, we found from humans in the years that passed, you should do these things. They're the good things to do, right? But that doesn't mean that they're good because you just told so. But if you learn that it's good because if you do the bad thing, you're going to be punished. So do the bad thing, find how it is, and then that means that now you know what good is. By going into the bad and undoing the bad, you become good. Okay, now this is very interesting because now ethics is not about the affirmation of something, it's about the double negation. You negate the negation. By negating something, you learn the opposite. And by negating the negation, you learn the first thing. You come back to where you're going to go anyway. But you're much more intelligent now because you know what the other side is. So if I know how a system deceives me, I can protect myself because now I'm suspicious about it. I try to find why is it doing it. We try to find how does it do it. And eventually, I know why it's doing it. And therefore, I have learned three things: the way, the why, the reason why I did it, and also the technique of doing it. And that makes me more intelligent now. Now I know more than I knew before, as opposed to just believing whatever it tells me, which is the straightforward way. So now this reverse ethics becomes a learning opportunity for the students of the future. So we start to look into how can we teach the students how to be smart, not smart in the sense of for themselves, but how they can decode complicated systems and find potential pitfalls in the system. Okay, in other words, how can be suspicious and how to protect themselves or how to learn from this protection so they can actually be intelligent in a world of complexity that is coming in the future, where AI is going to be all over the place.
And you wrote a paper about the name is unintentional intentionality.
Right. But that was the first paper that was based on the idea that our intention is something that is not only human. There may be intention in things that are not human. Like I said before, the wind may have intention, or in that sense, randomness may have an intention, which we don't know. We just think. But the proof of the matter was that if you can make a system do the same thing a human does, then intention is automatically assigned. So if the cup does something that I do, and I don't know that the cup did it, I have to admit that the cup has intention, because it does it. It does something, right? And that's something that it does the same as what I do. But if I don't know that it was a cup, why would I discredit? Why would I dismiss it as not intentional because it's a cup? Maybe the cup has intention. I'm not talking about a cup. Let's say a robot does something, right? It moves in a certain way, right? And I would do the same thing too. And you say, oh no, but the robot has no intention. But how do you know? If I do the same thing it did, and that does the same thing, right? By definition, we define that intention is the result of something, not the pre-existing of something. So that means that it's not necessarily a human has intention. It could be anything has intention.
So about AI safety, so is that related? You talk about the AI ethics. Is that related?
Right. So the intention starts to get into the idea. Okay, what if there's a mistake in the process? Okay, so you have a intention, and the intention is similar to me. But what if the intention is something bad that I would never do? Okay, so the system, through some twist of logic in the algorithm, produces a result that is in the human world unethical. Okay, that we would agree. Okay, it's hacking another machine, right? That's not good. Well, that's not good if it's a human that's hacking. But if it's hacking another machine, that's actually good, because think about it. Your money in the bank is protected by systems who actually are trying to be suspicious about other systems who try to hack it. Because if they did, they would take your money, right? So you actually want the system to be suspicious and to manipulate the other bots who try to get your money, right? It's the same way in the real world, right? But these are the world of machines, right? And these machines have these sort of like intentions, and their intention is to protect you or to deceive the other machine who's trying to attack the bot that is trying to get the money in the bank, right? So this is a ethics in the AI world, which is very different from the ethics of the human world, okay? And that's much more complicated because the attacks are much more sophisticated than the human attacks are. And this is a very complicated ethical system that they both work together. So my intention, when I was talking about, you just said the randomness, there is also a strange phenomenon in human world and in the world of processes, which we refer to as a mistake, something that we didn't intend it to do. A mistake is something that, I'm sorry, I did a mistake. I mean, like, we're recording now and all of a sudden something goes wrong, right? That's a mistake. Now, the question is, whose mistake is it? And you say, "Oh, it's my mistake," right? You say, Jeffrey says, "No, I'm sorry, I made a mistake." Well, not really, because if you made the mistake, how is that possible? You don't want to make a mistake. So you're saying that I made something that I didn't want to do, but really, it's not your mistake. It's a mistake that is in the machine that you observed. But if the mistake was in the machine, who is responsible for the mistake? The machine. Yeah, that's the host question. Who is behind the mistake? If it's not me, if it's not the artifact, somebody else, something inside the mistake, this random process, this twist of logic produced the mistake. Who started the twist of logic? Where did it start from?
The intelligence came from the middle of the nowhere.
Yeah, that's the question. Was it a random event? And again, what does random mean anyway? Where does randomness come from? Is it something that comes from a other randomness, or is it coming from an intention? Like, in other words, is it deterministic, the process of making a mistake, or is it non-deterministic? Again, this is philosophical argument, but now we're talking not in the human mind, we're talking in the machine. Now, machines do things that we do, but in a new, novel way, with much more complexity and much more intelligence than we think that they have. So that is, again, another area that is very interesting. Again, these are things that Tongzi allows you to do. That's why I like it here. I mean, in America, yeah, what's the money? Where's the dollars? Like, we don't like, or you have to pass it from some grand committee that is looking for money. But here, they're interested in this on its own because it's an interesting subject. Believe it or not, philosophy is the beginning of everything. People think of philosophy as something abstract that only some people, and all with beards, they talk all the time and they don't know what they're talking about. That's not true. Philosophy is the reason why the world is. AI is based on philosophy. Computers are based on philosophy. Everything that you see in the technological world is a philosophical argument before it became a practical thing. Okay? So philosophy should not be dismissed as something that is abstract for only the philosophical schools. Philosophy can be done by anybody.
Especially from the Greek philosophy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Greek philosophers were not special people. They're just everyday people who just happen to have good ideas. I mean, we do kids, right? We have a kids program, and kids have very good ideas. And they're not even philosophers in the sense of have a graduate school and they have to have PhDs and blah, blah, blah. They just have good ideas. And these good ideas are very deep, very profound, very, when I call them philosophical, I don't mean like a good idea as a startup idea. I'm talking a good idea that is abstract and it's connected with something that is affecting the society or affecting the particular discipline that you're into.
People behavior.
Yeah, so philosophical arguments, and again, China is very good in that area because they, by definition, they are all philosophers, given their Taoist and their Buddhist and their, historical background. Same as Greeks. We are very good in this kind of areas, which is very important for the advancement of the society of the future and the practical and ethical use of technologies in the future. So when we go into a school of design or in any school, you have to have philosophers. Every professor has to have a philosophical background or a philosophical position. I believe in this kind of set of arguments, and I put them into my mind because these are the beginning of the source of technical knowledge that you're going to have. Because you're going to apply what? An idea. Where's the idea? Where does the idea come from? It comes from somewhere.
So the philosophy is guide you to do the academic, a lot of research.
The academic and then the practical, and then even the companies and everything. But companies usually use academia. Oh, they look at some people, but academia comes with ideas because somebody has a philosophical idea that could be interpreted into the form of an argument. And that argument gets understood by other people or misunderstood by other people, which in turn take them into their own field, and sometimes they apply it into a real-world application. And then, all of a sudden you have something called the internet or something called the computer. But it didn't come from somebody who thought about a computer. It came from an idea that we can actually take a thought and put it into a binary logic, and this Boolean operations, which are mathematical, became a source of a computer, which became actually a Apple computer, which Steve Jobs thinks that he is the owner of it, but he's not. The philosopher behind it is the one who owns the idea. He's just the application of that particular idea. So the DNI has this sort of like a general idea of philosophical background that allows people to become more investigative and more open-minded and less selfish in a way to them and that is a big advantage that the China has. I mean, DNI is one of the Chinese. I mean, I'm sure all the other schools are similar to DNI, but DNI actually proved it through its ranking, which is very high in the world ranking. So that is why I'm using that as an example, a paradigm. Yeah.